Good morning, Geneva. Good morning, everyone. Appreciated getting up so early to attend my keynote today after a splendid party last night. Welcome to my keynote. We've been building walls and castles and strongholds for thousands of years. Many of them have never been breached. IT security, on the other hand, is a very young discipline. And lots of the defense mechanisms that we're building every day haven't stood the test of time. The evolution has only started. And breaches are happening every day from all sorts of directions. What could be more fruitful to looking at historical monuments with a proven success record? We know they worked for several centuries. I admit this idea is not particularly new. IT security people are talking about castles all the time, yet they're only scratching the surface. People using the castle metaphor are usually stopping at the keyword. My presentation starts at the keyword and takes you on a journey through history. The talk serves two purposes. A, I want to inspire you so when you return to your day job, you have more knowledge, more ideas, more insight, why certain defense methodologies actually work. And you can make good use of them. And B, I want to teach you the vocabulary and the methodology to use the castle metaphor successfully when talking to non-techies and explain them virtual cybersecurity concepts that they have a hard time understanding. Management yearns for brick and mortar visualizations of what you're attempting to build, and they don't really understand all these fluffy concepts. But when you use castles as a metaphor, that tends to work very successfully. I have a PhD in medieval history, and I've been running the company of St. George, one of the better known medieval reenactment companies in the world, for several years. You could say I've been defending medieval castles for 20 years of my life. As a hobby, that is. But I've also been defending a lot of servers. I do a lot of technical works. I write articles. I write books. I publish. I teach web application security. And I sit in a couple of committees where we talk about cybersecurity on a state level. So I have over 10 years of IT security experience. Our program today, I'm going to present to you 3 problems that existed 1,000 years ago and they're still plaguing us today. I'm going to present 3 solutions to you that have proven to work. They're not really solutions that you're hearing the first time. You know these solutions, but you're not using them enough, or you're not pushing for them enough in your organizations. And with the history in mind, this will be easier for you because it will be more clear why they really work. And finally, 3 security practices that you've heard about ad nauseum already, but I'm going to reiterate them just because they're so important in historical context, but also in IT security. Let's start with the first problem. Security is a process. We all know that. With a more playful angle, security can also be seen as a game. It's a game between the attackers and the defenders on the other side. It's a very stupid and unfair game, actually, because unlike hockey or football, it's not about scoring more goals. The game is over as soon as the attackers score a single goal. The media is completely uninterested in all the goals that the defenders are scoring. They're completely irrelevant. The only thing that matters is denying the attackers a single success. Because when they score a goal, you're out as a defender and you've lost your battle. You didn't do your job. And everybody will be finger pointing at you. So that's the nature of the security game. And of course, in the historical reality, it was exactly the same. That's why castles were so important. They were expensive to build, but people did it because they knew our lives depend on the walls we build around ourselves. You could say a medieval castle is a security-first policy built into stone. And let me tell you this, the constant quarrels between the business departments and the security departments in companies would lead to different outcomes, different from the regular business wins outcome to a security wins outcome if the life of the CEO would depend on the success of his defense team in his company. We're looking at a manuscript that is stored in the British Library today. We see a castle, a city, defended by gates, towers and walls, and attackers in the front. This is a strong defense structure. Yet, a single breach in the wall, one gap in the defense layout, one undefended pinnacle on top of the wall, or a bit of a sloppy security procedure at the gate, and the city could fall. The attackers could win. The attackers would score the goal they desperately need. Here, they're using a Trojan horse, an attack trick that is very popular as a metaphor in medieval times and also today, because it's a smart visualization of a cunning attack plan, a war ruse put into play to overthrow the sophisticated defense architecture that we're seeing. The Trojan horse is an interesting attack idea because it is camouflaged in a way the defenders aren't even aware that the attack is going on. They're completely left in the dark about the existence or the progress of the attack until it is successful, and then it's too late, of course. Historical problem, modern problem, it's all the same. Denial of service attacks. DOS has fallen out of fashion a bit the last 1, 2, 3 years, since the Mirai botnet got up. Sextortion, ransomware, crypto miners are all the rage these days with the criminals. This is what the press is writing about. This is what we're hearing. This is what our grandparents ask us about. But these fashion trends among criminals are very short-lived. And I'm sure it's only a matter of time until DOS extortion is back in the headlines and back a very hot topic. So what is DOS doing? DOS is an attack on the resources, of course. The attacker wants to eat up the resources. He aims, or she aims, for the CPU level. He wants to consume the whole CPU. He wants to eat up the storage, the memory of the server, of your service. Or they want to flood your bandwidth, so you're no longer able to communicate. That's a modern denial of service attack. This is based on the fact that all resources, all supplies are finite, and the attackers are eating them for you. We're looking at the siege of Damascus. On the left behind, we're seeing the King of England with his army. And the lower left corner, we see the King of France. And historically not quite correct, and the lower right corner, we see the German emperor with his vast army, his knights, attacking the city of Damascus in modern Syria. The city of Damascus is defended by 6 blokes, sitting on a wall, looking down on the attackers cheerfully. They're supported by a huge defense architecture. They have a moat, they have high and strong walls, several towers, and we look up on the tower with we see 3 additional friends armed with trumpets, and I'm sure they're not afraid to use them to defend the city. This looks a wee bit ridiculous in the light of the armies in front of the city, but this is the historical reality. They're completely at ease. And isn't this how it should be? It should take a small security team at a company, strong defense architecture, and thousands of attackers, meaning no problem, no harm to the company. It shouldn't be the other way around, with lots of security workers in companies and 2 script kiddies downloading malware from the internet and capturing the secure assets of the company on a weekend. Because this defense structure actually works, and the siege of Damascus failed horribly. The vast numbers of attackers gave up, and they returned home. The Second Crusade attackers, Damascus, failed in front of these walls. What is a historical siege? A historical siege is meant to cut the communication lines. It's meant to limit access to drinking water for the defenders, and to stop any supplies, any food from reaching the city. So like a denial of service attack, it has exactly the same pattern. A medieval siege and a modern denial of service is the same attack pattern. But they defended very successfully in historical times, and we still have a hard time defending, again, denial of service attack at a certain size or level. Third problem. Of course, it is known to you. Denial of service attack sieges are carried out by advanced persistent threats. And advanced persistent threats are, of course, very dangerous, but have been very dangerous in historical times as well. What is an APT? An APT is a superior attacker that has the means, the resources, the know-how, and the patience to try it again and again and again. Step by step, he progresses through your defenses until he scores a victory. An APT tries to fly under the radar, so you're not even aware that he's there, until he's entered your organization being ready for lateral movement. That is an APT. And of course, that concept is existing in historical times as well. We're looking at a painting by the famous Indian artist Mishkina. This is taken from the Akbarnama. This is the biography of Akbar the Great, and a ruler that united the kingdom from modern Afghanistan all the way down to India and led it to an incredible cultural blossom that is hard to grasp nowadays, where this region of the world fallen out of fashion a bit. So Akbar was a very strong leader, and he was also a very strong commander. Here we see him laying siege on a city, on a castle, high on a hill or on a cliff. We have his camp on the lower left corner. The attack is raging. The city is defended by walls and defenders. And we also have a volcano in the game. So what is this? Let's take a closer look here. What we perceive as a volcano is actually an explosion. It's an underground explosion. This is Akbar the Great digging a tunnel underneath the walls of the city. Mishkina, the artist, put the tunnel in the lower left corner very close to the castle. Of course, the entrance would be further away. Historically, he put it close for artistic reasons. But Akbar the Great had the mining know-how to dig a tunnel into stone. He had the supplies to feed his army while they waited for the miners to finish their mission. And then he had the vast amounts of black powders it took to blow up the tunnel, the hill, the mountain, and the walls all together, so people and horses would fly through the air, and he would blast his way into the castle. Akbar the Great is advanced persistent threat, a very successful one historically. And of course, that exists today as well. It needn't be as spectacular as Akbar the Great. It needn't be James Bond style attacks. Modern APTs are much more silent, but equally successful. I'll give you a quote by Rob Joyce. Rob Joyce used to be the head of the NSA tailored access operations. This is the nation-state attacker part within the NSA that actually attacks and goes out to attack other nation-states. The nation-state attackers, there is a reason it's called advanced persistent threats. Because we'll poke and we'll poke, we'll wait and wait and we'll wait. Right, we're looking for that opportunity, that opening, and that opportunity to finish the mission. This is why they're so dangerous. Back in the day, and they're still the most dangerous opponent you can face in the security game. The APT has the means and the dedication to try it again and again, to sneak into your castle, stealing your assets while you were enjoying yourself at a Christmas party or at a security conference like this one. But don't rush out. Listen me out. Let's come to the solutions. The solutions are not mapping one-on-one on the historical problems. And the solutions aren't really new to you. But I'm putting them in a different light, in a historical context. Because APTs, they tend to leave us at a loss somehow. So let me take a stand for flexibility and agility and infrastructure in an organization, in a team, or in your processes that you need. Flexibility and agility is very important. Let's start here. This is a German salad. It is a helmet from around 1480. It is the end point of a long evolution of helmets. And as it happens, I have a replica of that helmet with me. Some people have been expecting this. So this is exactly the helmet that you see up there.